What's up guys, it's Leah here. Welcome back to yet another Beady episode, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made this beaded bag, which is very beginners friendly and easy to make. I mean, it only took me about 2 hours to make it, and since this video is targeted at beginners, it is really detailed. So if you have little to no knowledge about bead bag making and want to make a beaded bag, this will be a good place to start. And if you do have knowledge on bead bag making and still want to make this bag, well, keep on watching. Before we start, a quick question: have you subscribed? If you haven't, please go on ahead and do that. It is really appreciated. Well then, let's get to it. So I'm going to be using this long bead. You can use any bead for this bag, just make sure the bead is long. If not, you're going to end up with a very small bag like this, and you don't want that. The length of the bead I'm using is about 1 inch to guide you on which bead to get. Big round beads can also be used. The process of making it is the same, just that it will be a bit smaller, but it's still going to be cute. Next is my fishing line. Whichever fishing line you're going to use, just make sure it is either 0.7 fishing line like the one I'm using or more. And then something to cut my fishing line with. To start the bag, I'm going to cut a good length of my fishing line, after which I'll pick up 4 beads and pass it through the fishing line. Then I'll take the last of the bead and pass the other end of the fish line through it. After which I'll hold both ends of the fish line, then drag the bead to the bottom of the fish line to make sure both ends of the fish line are equal. Then I'll pick up 3 beads, pass 1 bead each through both ends of the fish line. And I'll use the last bead to cross both fish lines together from opposite direction. Then I'll drag both ends of the fish line as tightly as I can. Now I'm going to pick up another set of 3 beads and pass all of the beads through one of the fish line. After which I'm going to take the other fish line and pass it through the last bead I just passed through the first fish line. Then I'm going to drag both fish line very tightly. So here I'm going to turn, and to turn I'm going to pass 3 beads through the fish line facing outside the martin. Then I'll take the last of the bead and pass the other fish line through that last bead, then drag it from opposite direction. At this point, I'm going to pass my fish line through the matted bead closest to it. Then I'll pick up 2 beads, pass it through the other fish line, and use the last of the bead to cross both fish lines together from opposite direction. And now I'll take this fish line and pass it through the matted bead closest to it, after which I'm going to pass 2 beads through that same fish line. Then I'll take the other fish line, pass it through the last of the beads through opposite direction, then I'll drag both fish line tightly. Here I'm going to make another turn by picking up 3 beads and passing those 3 beads through the fish line facing outside the martin. Then I'll take the last of the beads to cross both fish lines together from opposite direction. After which I'm going to take the fish line inside the martin and pass it through the matted bead closest to it. Then I'll pick up 2 beads and pass it through the other fish line and use the last of the bead to cross both fish lines together from opposite direction and drag it. Now that I discovered that my fish line is very short and I can't continue with it, I pull it out from the crossing I just did and I tie both ends of the fish line tightly. Then I pass both fish lines through different matted beads separately till it gets to the point that both fish lines meet again. At the point both fish lines meet, I tie both ends of the fish line together again. Here I'm using my teeth to drag both ends of the fish line tightly in order to secure the tie I just made. A beading plier can also be used to drag the fish line tight if you have one, or if you don't, you can also use your teeth, but be careful not to hurt yourself with it. Then I pass both ends of the fish line through the matted bead closest to it separately, after which I cut off the excess fish line. To continue, I cut a new length of fish line, then pass the fish line through these 2 matted beads here. After which I pick up 2 beads, then pass the 2 beads through the fish line at the left hand side and use the last of the beads to cross both fish lines together from opposite direction. Then I hold both ends of the fish line and drag the bead to the bottom of the fish line to make sure both sides of the fish line are equal. To continue, I pick up 3 beads, pass the 3 beads through the fish line at the left hand side. Then I'll take the last of the beads and cross both fish lines together from opposite direction, after which I drag all of the beads down to the bottom of the fish line. And now I'll repeat a step I've shown previously, which is to pass one of the fish line through the matted bead closest to it, and then pass 2 beads through the other fish line and use the last of the bead to cross both fish lines together. After doing that twice, I take the fish line inside the matting and pass it through the matted bead closest to it, after which I pick up 2 beads, pass the 2 beads through the other fish line and use the last of the beads to cross both fish lines together from opposite direction. So because I just matted through a corner, right now I'm going to be having this. To continue, I'm going to take the fish line inside the matting and pass it through the matted bead closest to it, after which I'll pick up 2 beads and pass the 2 beads through the other fish line, then I'll use the last of the beads to cross both fish lines together. And now I will repeat that same step again by taking the fish line inside the matting and passing it through the matted bead closest to it, after which I'll take the other fish line, pass 2 beads through it and use the last of the bead to cross both fish lines together. Using the same step, I'm going to continue matting till I get to the other end of the matting. At this point, I'm going to continue matting as before, that is, I'll take the fish line inside the matting and pass it through the matted bead closest to it, after which I'm going to pick up 2 beads, pass the 2 beads through the other fish line and use the last of the beads to cross both fish lines together from opposite direction. And I repeat again by taking the fish line inside the matting and passing it through the matted bead closest to it, after which I'll pick up 2 beads, pass the 2 beads through the other fish line and use the last of the bead to cross both fish lines together from opposite direction. And now to close this cycle of matting, I'm going to take the fish line inside my matting and pass it through the matted bead closest to it, after which I'm going to pass it through the next matted bead closest to it again, and then I'll take 1 bead and use it to cross both fish lines together. Now I'm having this, after which I discovered my fish line is again very short, so I lose the crossing I just made and tie both fish lines together tightly. I then pass both fish lines through the front matted bead separately till we get to the point that both fish lines meet again. Where I tie both fish lines together again. After which I pass both fish lines through different matted beads closest to it separately. Use my teeth to drag both ends of the fish line tight, then I cut off the excess fish line. After cutting a new length of fish line, I pass it through one of the matted bead at the edge of my matting. After which I pick up 3 beads and pass the 3 beads through one of the fish line, just one, and I take the other fish line and pass it through the last of the bead from opposite direction. Then I hold both ends of the fish line and drag my bead to the bottom of the fish line to make both sides of the fish line equal. Then I continue matting by taking the fish line inside my matting and passing it through the matted bead closest to it, after which I pick up 2 beads, pass the 2 beads through the other fish line and use the last of the beads to cross both fish lines together. And I repeat the last step again by taking the fish line inside my matting and passing it through the matted bead closest to it, after which I pick up 2 beads and pass it through the other fish line and use the last of the bead to cross both fish lines together from opposite direction. Whenever you are making a beaded bag, always tuck tightly at the fish line to ensure your matting is tight in order to get a very stiff bag. And now I turn the bag to the next corner and continue using the same last steps to continue matting. which is by taking the fish line inside my matting and passing it through the matted bead closest to it, after which I pick up 2 beads and pass it through the other fish line. Then I take the last of the beads and cross both fish lines together from opposite direction. I continue doing this till I get to the other end of this matting cycle. Close the cycle, I take the fish line inside my matting and pass it through the matted bead closest to it, after which I again pass it through the next matted bead closest to it, and then I pick up 1 bead and use it to cross both fish lines together from opposite direction. And now I'm going to repeat all the steps I used in making the last cycle to make a new cycle of matting. Now that my fishing line is short, I'm going to tie it as shown before. And then I cut a new length of fish line and continue matting using the previous steps. You should know that bead making is all about repeating a particular step or method when necessary, so all the steps I'm using now I've previously used and shown before in this video. Therefore, if you are stuck somewhere, you might want to go back to the beginning of the video to get a better understanding. You can also stop here and tie your fish line, then go on ahead to make the handle of the bag. By doing that, you have a square and cute bag like this, but since I want this bag to contain my phone comfortably, I'm going to make one more cycle of matting. And yeah, I'm done with the last cycle of matting, so I'm going to tie as shown before and start making the handle of the bag. To make the handle of the bag, I cut a long length of fish line and pass it through the matted bead here at the middle. After which I pick up 2 beads and pass 1 bead each through both ends of the fish line separately. After which I'll join the 2 fish lines together, then pass 1 bead through both ends of the fish line together. I continue adding beads till I get to the length I want the handle of my bag to be, which is 7 beads in total. Then I separate both fish lines from each other and pass 1 bead each through both fish lines. After which I take one of the fish line and pass it through the matted bead opposite to where the handle of the bag is starting from. Then I take the other fish line and pass it through that same matted bead again, thereby crossing both fish lines together from opposite direction, after which I pass the fish line through matted bead closest to it separately till it gets the point that both fish lines meet, where I tie both fish lines together tightly. After which I pass both fish lines through different matted bead closest to it separately, then I cut off the excess fish line. And now all that is left for me to do is to make a drawstring bag to put inside the beaded bag. I couldn't decide on which fabric to get, so I got 2 and I ended up making 2 drawstring bags, which I'm going to switch between the 2 as I like. That's it guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and hopefully by now you have an idea on how to make this beaded bag. Click the like button if you enjoyed this video, and if you are confused or have any question, take it to the comments and I will respond as soon as I can. Lastly, please subscribe for more videos like this. Until next time, bye.